Machias here, and welcome to my channel. In today's 5 on Friday, I'm going to bring to you 5 queer recs. So these are going to be books that have queer representation in them somewhere that I have really enjoyed and would recommend you check out. So first up, we have Anna on the Edge by AJ Sass, and this is a middle grade contemporary that features trans rap. So this story follows Anna, who loves to figure skate, but Anna isn't thrilled with next season's theme, princesses. Anna is so not into frilly dresses. Anna then meets Hayden, a trans boy at the rink, and when Hayden mistakes Anna for a boy, Anna goes with it. And then starts to wonder why it feels so comfortable being around Hayden and being mistaken for a boy, and it makes Anna start to question things. So I really, really love the figure skating aspect and seeing Anna struggle with that. I think it is a really good representation of somebody who, until they met somebody who's trans, hadn't really questioned their own identity. And it is just really interesting to see Anna go on that story along with seeing Hayden, who is already much more comfortable with their identity. So would highly recommend this middle grade contemporary. The next book also features a trans character, and it is a middle grade and it's spooky. And it is Too Bright to See by Kyle Lockoff. So in this book, we're following Bug, who is trying to enjoy the summer before middle school, and Bug's best friend, Moria, is using that time to kind of get ready. She is all into talking about boys she has crushes on, and makeup, and clothes, and Bug doesn't really care about any of that stuff. Bug is far more interested in the ghost haunting Bug's house. And that ghost may be focused specifically on Bug. While trying to figure out more about the ghost, Bug realizes something about themselves. They're trans. I like that in this one there was a spooky ghost aspect that kind of changed up the general contemporary vibes of this one. I liked seeing Bug and Mora's friendship in this one and how it kind of kickstarted some things, because you really see the difference between Bug and Mora and how they're kind of handling this journey into middle school and the things that they care about. Again, I thought this was another interesting way to look at somebody kind of figuring some things out about themselves. And like I said, with the spooky aspect, it really does change the vibes a little bit. And it isn't just a straightforward contemporary, which definitely I think adds to it and might get a kid who would not be interested in a straight contemporary to read a book that features some trans rep, which is a fantastic thing. So would highly recommend this one as well. My next book is another middle grade contemporary, and this is Both Can Be True by Jules Machias. So in this book we have Ash, who is some days definitely a girl and other days 100% all guy. So we have a kind of gender fluid character. Ash really struggles with how people see them because their gender, like I said, is fluid. So as that changes, people's perception can bother them. Then we have Daniel, who is extremely sensitive and has been told he is actually overly sensitive by a lot of people in his life. So he's kind of dealing with the fact that he doesn't fit the stereotype of a young boy, because young boys aren't supposed to be sensitive. That's a girl thing. So he is really struggling with that and the perceptions that people are putting on him of these gender stereotypes. And he ends up rescuing this dog from the shelter that was about to be put down and runs into Ash. And Ash ends up helping him. The problem is that Daniel does not realize that Ash is gender fluid. He just thinks Ash is a girl. And then some feelings might be brewing between the two, and Ash really struggles with how to inform Daniel that his perception of Ash is maybe not 100% accurate all of the time. This was another one I really, really enjoyed because it is a completely different look at gender and some of the stereotypes that come along with gender, because, like I said, Daniel is an extremely sensitive individual that is really in tune with his feelings, and that is an issue for him because people want to tell him that, well, you're a boy, you can't be this sensitive. Boys aren't sensitive, toughen up, grow up. And then you have Ash, whose gender kind of floats around. And I think that that is another good rep to have in middle grade books, because I think it will help people to be more understanding of not only themselves, but other people. Especially with, also throwing in the gender stereotypes in there, because I think that is an important aspect of the world that kind of gets lost in the shuffle, that there is no wrong or right way to be your gender, whatever that is. And I know that there was a point in time in my life when I was told, your mom didn't teach you how to be a girl. Now keep in mind, I'm non-binary. I'm not a girl. But I was told this, and my two role models, because my mom's best friend was like a second mother to me, and then of course my mom, were not into fancy clothes, doing their hair and their makeup, being all these, perfect, beautiful, like glamorous, super ultra feminine women. My second mom loved wearing jeans and a flannel. I don't ever really remember seeing her with makeup on. And my mom, for the most part, lived in scrubs because she was a CNA. So oftentimes she would be like changing out of her pajamas into her work clothes. And then when she got home, she would be changing from her work clothes into her pajamas. And even on her days off, she was like more of like a t-shirt, soft pants kind of gal. So to be told by somebody that, well, your mom didn't teach you how to be a girl, all I could think of was my two main female role models did not fit the stereotype for a girl. My dad is extremely sensitive, very in tune with his emotions. Absolutely seen him cry multiple times. He never hid that from me. My mom does not cry. My parents are the complete opposite when it comes to showing emotions. So I grew up in a household that very much bucked the stereotypes for gender. So I think that this is important, not just to show that gender can be fluid in the case of Ash, but there is no wrong or right way to express your gender identity and to break some of those stereotypes. So I would highly recommend this book for those reasons. My next recommendation is The Heartbreak Bakery by A.R. Cappetta. And this is a YA fantasy romance. We've broken the trend of middle grades. So in this book, we're following Sid, who does not use pronouns. And Sid works at the Proud Muffin, which is a queer bakery and community space in Austin. And one day, Sid bakes some brownies that have some interesting side effects. They cause the people that eat them to break up, including the bakery's owners, Vin and Alec. Sid ends up confiding in Harley, who uses he/they pronouns and wears a pin to let you know which one should be used on any given day. And they are the bike delivery person for the bakery. And together, Sid and Harley have to kind of figure out how to reverse the effects of these brownies. So this was another one that just absolutely blew my mind, because there's just so much rep, because like I said, you're working in a queer bakery. So it is really sprinkled throughout this entire book. And then you have Sid, who doesn't have pronouns, and Harley, whose pronouns change depending on how they're feeling at any given moment. And I really enjoyed that aspect to it. And then I love the magic to it. The idea that Sid has baked these brownies that are causing people to break up, and now Sid and Harley have to figure out how Sid managed to do that and how to fix the problem. And it was just a really, really fun ride. I was sucked in from the word go. And again, I think it also is nice to show some different ways at having romance, because if memory serves, I believe Sid had a relationship with a girl, but Sid is also asexual. Don't hold me to that, because it's been a while since I read it, but I believe that also happened in this book. So very, very excited to have more books in the teen realm that show different ways to have romance. And I like that there was a little fantastical twist in this one. And then my last recommendation is an adult cozy mystery, and that is Poisoned Primrose by Dahlia Donovan. So our main character in this is Mons, and Mons is asexual and autistic. So you get to see queer rep and neurodivergent rep in this one, and I think that that's such a fascinating twist on a main character of a cozy mystery novel, because Mons' brain works differently to neurotypical people's, so it definitely adds a different vibe. There are other queer characters that she surrounds herself with that are a part of kind of her found family, so you will see that as well. And in the first book, Mott has finally set out on her own, moved to London into her aunt's cottage, and ends up finding a body in her backyard when she's gardening. And she has a cat and a turtle, which is definitely an interesting twist on the cozy sidekick, because I believe it's a naked cat and then a turtle. I don't know that I've read a cozy mystery with a turtle as kind of the pet in there. And it's just such an interesting series, and I like the fact that while there is romance, it feels very, very different because our main character is Ace. And that changes how she looks at relationships. And then, of course, she's autistic, which also changes how she looks at the world. So really, really would highly recommend this series if you're into cozy mysteries, because it has a completely different vibe to a lot of the cozy mysteries I've read, while maintaining that kind of general theme that you would expect from a cozy mystery. So there you have it. Those are 5 books I would recommend that have queer representation in them. What is a book that you would recommend that has queer representation in it? Let me know in the comments section below, because I'm always looking for more queer books to read. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me pride emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!